When I agreed to do this, and my wife and I had a little talk about it, and she says, they're asking for the impossible. I was raised in the South, and to tell a story in less than 7 minutes, I don't know if that's possible. But I'm going to do my best. So let's get right into what we're going to talk about today. It's an honor to be here, representing Woodman Life, our organization. And what I want to share with you today is a little bit about what our organization's been doing over the last year and a half, 2 years, to prepare ourselves for the future. For those of you who don't know Woodman Life, we are a fraternal life insurance organization. And we were founded right here in Omaha, Nebraska in June of 1890. So with 129 years of tradition and history, very successful, but much like any other business enterprise, the speed of change is coming faster and faster and faster with technology, business models, for us, regulation. And so when I took over as a CEO a couple of years ago, I asked senior leaders, are we executing to the best of our ability? Are we maximizing against our mission? And the honest answer was no. And so then what would have to be true for us to be able to do that? And so what we did is we actually adopted and we began institutionalizing the 5 practices of leadership. Because what we needed to do was adapt and change our culture. What we were used to is managing to business results for today. But as a CEO, one of my responsibilities was to be the grand steward and set the organization up to be here 129 years later. We didn't create that, so you can see that this was adapted and taken straight from this Leadership Challenge. Excellent book. If you've not read it, you should take the time to do that. James Cousins and Barry Posner, they set a transformational plan in place that if adopted, these 5 principles, and not just for your senior leaders, it's not a book club, but we created an entire program that we put our entire organization through called Transformational Leadership. Because if you're going to change the culture, you've got to make the language common, and you've got to adopt it wholeheartedly. And so I'm going to take you through these. The first one is model the way, and that kind of speaks for itself. I kind of snuck this one in there because the man that's modeled the way for me my whole life, that's my dad standing right next to me. He retired with 50 years of service from our organization. And, model the way is coached in our organization around 2 very important principles. The first part of model the way is that you become very clear and you clarify what your values are as an organization, but also as the individuals within. And then the most important part, that anyone that is in a leadership role, that they demonstrate those values, that they are obvious by your actions and your interactions. And so modeling the way starts the process. You may recognize this structure here back in 1967. This is the construction of our own home office. And so the second principle within those 5 is inspire shared vision. Leadership is responsible for creating that and imagining this grand accomplishment in the organization and what it can do, and creating that image that's so vivid that people they can say, yeah, I can see that. And so what we did our best to try to do and continue to do and coaching to is including a larger scale of people that contribute to that grand vision. Because if someone is a part owner and a contributor, then there's more buy-in and pursuit of that grand vision. The other thing about the shared vision is steeped in traditions. We've got 129 years of history. So building on that foundation forward to build on our legacy. Hey, you've got this quote here. The next principle within this 5 practices of leadership is challenge the process. This one is actually very entertaining, but also can be a challenge. I've been, as introduced, I've been with this organization actually 32 years. And, we kind of get set in our ways. Our organization is 129 years. We have a very tenured workforce. And so challenge the process is for us, and the application of that is vital, because that is everyone in the organization, not someone that has, direct reporting structure, not a senior leader, but we're teaching and coaching and praising those that are willing to raise their hands in the meeting and say, why do we even do that? Or they'll say, have we tried to do it this way? And it's most important as the leaders that you listen, because those that are offering those suggestions are closest to the problem oftentimes and the best ones to the solution. Then we've got enable others to act. Some of the challenge of process rolls into that. You know, being able to empower someone, to trust them, to support them acting on pursuing that alternate innovative model and the challenge of the process, that's one of the greatest gifts you can give an associate. Collaborative teams to work close. What we found is that it's also strengthening the future of our organization because we're building future leaders and building talent from within. Encourage the heart. These pictures here are from a whole organization-wide celebration we had. We just launched a successful product September 1. Every associate in the building was part of the celebration. Encourage the heart means we win together, we cry together, and especially we want our leaders to recognize and compliment and reward those that are demonstrating these 5 practices of leadership. And then in summation, we've seen other alternate benefits. We've seen amazing growth from some people that have been well tenured within our organization that are put in that model of challenge the process and enabled to act. So it's been good for us. Are we perfect yet? Are we done? No, it's going to be a long journey for us. But are we better because of this? Yes. And so use my time. I appreciate it. Thank you.